I'm not going to sing. I've only got this because I'm not good at standing behind here. So I'm going to tell you a bit about the sustainability story that we've been working on over the last couple of years, trying to get the dairy sector in a position to manage this going forward, because it's been such an important and growing area. And I think, like any business, we need to evolve, we need to change, we need to look at the signals and how we're going to manage those as an industry going forward. And looking at recent accomplishments, as Nico just did on his side of the work, we've had some great successes in the environment side, predominantly driven by environment, but it has sustainability implications. And this is part of our challenge, making people recognise, many people we interact with, that sustainability is more than just environment. And I think that's part of our challenge going forward, trying to address that. But the publishing in 2010 of the dairy industry of the greenhouse gas methodology was a huge step forward. We were well ahead of many other sectors. And that was because we as an industry wanted to stop analysing methodology. We wanted people using the same methodology, then we could focus on the positives of addressing the issue, knowing we were talking the same language. Published in 2010, we have not stopped. This dairy conference, we're seeing the second edition launched, updating with new science, new knowledge, because we're learning. We're on a journey ourselves. We say sustainability is a journey, not a destination. We're on a continual journey, updating our documents as we go forward, and make sure you get a copy of that and embed that into your individual company programs, national programs. Then we as a dairy sector are all talking the same language, and we can focus on the positives of addressing the needs we need to do collaboratively. But we haven't stopped there and kept it in the dairy community. IDF is instrumental in getting inside organisations such as the FAO and taking the good leading work we've done and getting it embedded into other documents so more can benefit from the work dairy has done. We've done work on the feed for a standing committee on farm management, has done a lot of work on the feed side of dairy production, and that work is fed in through a member of the IDF from France. Sophie Bertrand has been involved in that process. We've been doing work in Standing Committee on Environment on biodiversity. Kath Phelps from Australia, Dairy Australia, through the IDF, has been influential in working with the biodiversity program in the FAO. And then the greatest success I think we've just had, which is out for consultation now, is that methodology for greenhouse gas has been embedded into this FAO document here. They've accepted it. That means not just dairies doing this, but beef are taking note of it as well now. And we know the interrelationship between beef and dairy as well, so we're helping provide the leadership to move that case forward and allow us all to move forward positively and address these issues. We've also had great success through the Standing Committee on Farm Management and Animal Health and Welfare, again, working together to get work through the OIE, working with that organisation, getting the expertise that is captured in the IDF, the knowledge, the two heads are better than one concept, getting that work embedded into other programs so a wider audience can benefit from the work that IDF does. So we're actually providing that leadership out there. And hopefully that will then continue on into ISO documents as well. But we're getting in at the right level to make sure the leadership that dairy is providing can be captured by others. And then another bit of collaborative work that the IDF is involved with is the Global Dairy Agenda for Action. I'll put a plug in here now. This afternoon's session is at after 11:30. You can't get back to your hotel now because the last bus is gone. You will come to this session this afternoon where we're going to give you an update on how a collaborative approach in dairy is looking at addressing sustainability. And this program on the Global Dairy Agenda for Action and the framework is about aligning and connecting the sector so we can work together, get connected, work together and move forward faster by sharing information at a pre-competitive basis. Here are the organisations driving that program at the moment, but we're still trying to grow that governing group to make sure we are truly globally representative. It is not a developed world initiative, it's not a large company initiative, it's there for everyone. But IDF is at the table there, providing the leadership, bringing the expertise in. Jeremy mentioned earlier about the scientific basis of work and consensus building, a really great set of attributes that IDF can bring into our process to move this agenda forward. So under the sustainability pillar, now we're talking sustainability, as previously in IDF we've been in the environment section. We're widening this now, we're taking our blinkers off and we're thinking about other components of sustainability as well. It's the social, it's the economic and the environment. And it's important to note that we've got a new aspect to this definition of what we're trying to do under the IDF pillar, which is we're trying to close that nutritional gap. We're bringing nutrition into it as well now. So this means in our standing committees and our work we do for IDF, we need to start thinking not just in our individual standing committees, but what other skills do we need to make the work we do more valuable by working with others. So what are we going to deliver under the pillar of sustainability? Developing and promoting sustainable practices across the value chain. When we were working on greenhouse gases, the issue was predominantly, not all, but predominantly at farm level. By taking the sustainability approach, we're actually working right across the value chain now. So this involves greater things we need to consider, but it also requires greater skill sets to sit at the table with us and look at those more sustainable practices we can deliver and provide our members with. Science-based guidance and leadership. I've mentioned those several times already in the presentation, but they're getting that information into the key organisations that need to hear of the work dairy's done. We are ahead of the curve in many areas, and we should make sure others benefit from that, because that will help us benefit in the same way. And as I've already said, sustainability is a wider agenda now. We need different skills, but we need to have open minds to think about what other aspects we need to consider. But what are the interrelationships between those different aspects? So our priorities for 2016 to 18 over that 3-year period is looking at socio-economic sustainability, recognising that we need dairy to be profitable, but that has benefits on the social side as well. Dairy is a great employer, it has a great story to tell, but we recognise there's good hard work we've got to do as well to improve this area of work. So we're promoting the development of transparent, innovative, effective and viable markets. How can we help our own sector grow and meet that growing world population? We haven't forgotten environmental sustainability. As I said when I began, environmental sustainability is all some people think about, and that's what they want to see work on. And we have work to do. We don't have all the answers yet. We're still working on that. We've had meetings with standing committees and action teams in the few days leading up to this conference. The levels of discussion about the work we still need to do, environment is still there high on the agenda. And we need to help other organisations by developing positive, good practices in health and welfare for the dairy cow. If we look through the dairy sustainability framework, where members have gone through a prioritisation process, health and welfare of cattle is actually number 2 on our list at the moment. So it's still up there. We can't forget about these things. We still need to evolve the agenda. And here again, as I say, let's look at that link between sustainability and nutrition. We already have an action team working on this with a Standing Committee on Nutrition and Health and Standing Committee on Environment. But actually, do we need to widen that group? Where's farm management? Where are the other groups? What other skills do we need at the table to help provide the answers that dairy is a wonderful and sustainable nutrition? On the socio-economic activity, we've got a growing world population. We know that, and we need to make sure that our industry grows sustainably. We've already done great work. I was talking with a farmer recently, and this is as simple as it gets. He worked out how many businesses his single farm supports. And he came back to me and he said, I'm not keeping them in profit, but I'm supporting 40 local businesses by having my farm located here. That's a great story, because having dairy in the community is so important. So we've got to look for the positives, but we recognise we've still got some work to do in trying to improve the social aspects of dairy. So we build on those fact sheets there in the slide that we've already released, and we need to build on those and capture these stories, capture the evidence, and quantify our progress and our input to society. So, and here's another great one. You'll all know about the World Dairy Situation Report published by the IDF each year. Here's an underpinning piece of evidence that allows us to make informed economic decisions going forward about the transparent markets. How do we help social aspects of dairy? There's a report that's published in one place. You can use this as a reference to help make decisions going forward. But actually, standing committees should reference this as well. How can this help our work in IDF? We've got then an evidence base against what we're working with, and not just because it gives us a nice warm feeling that it's something nice to do. If we just look at environmental sustainability, and it's coming back to what I just said, the work we're now doing on the Standing Committee on Environment actually requires us to connect with other standing committees, because we're dealing with air and energy, water, biodiversity, soil. We had a long discussion on soil yesterday, trying to identify what are the real challenges. We recognise we haven't done a lot of work on soil, but what are the real challenges related to soil? Are there? Or are there different priorities we need to focus on? But to work on these areas, we need to bring in the Standing Committee on Dairy Science and Technology, farm management, nutrition and health. economics and policies. We need to get these guys around the table with us to make sure we can provide a very holistic approach to the work we're doing, but in a focused way. But sitting outside that, or not outside, but within that, is actually partnerships. We need to partner with different organisations who may have skills trying to solve the same challenges. In the Standing Committee on Environment yesterday, we had a representative from the FAO, and he was listening to the work we're doing, and he leant over to me at the end of the meeting and said, we've got to connect more. We've got the same challenges. How can we help each other achieve this? And that's the leadership IDF's showing. And in terms of 2016 priorities, two key pieces of work: a biodiversity framework. The dairy sector in your regions, I'm sure the questions have been asked about biodiversity and the relationship with dairy farming. Different things in different regions, a very challenging one. It's not the same as greenhouse gas, where a tonne of greenhouse gas is the same in Lithuania as it is in Australia. Biodiversity in different regions, even between farms, is very different. So how do we enable the sector globally to quantify this and make sure we have a good response about how we're responsibly managing biodiversity or even improving? So we're working on that now, and we had a discussion yesterday on this very topic about how we should, what level should we pitch it at. It's not about actually KPIs and targets. It's about how we understand what's there in the first place. Because until you do that, you can't do much else. So it's a high-level framework, but here again, we're pulling the dairy sector together, and we're saying, do this in the same way, we're speaking the same language, we can progress together. And the work on the HLP report on linking nutrition and sustainability, and this work on biodiversity and the work on soils that I mentioned, all underpins our evidence base that allows us to provide the sustainability story that goes with the fantastic nutrition story that we have. Thank you.